Welcome to Auntie Life Unfiltered, the podcast where we say the things everyone else whispers, feels, or pretends they're totally fine about. Around here, nothing is too awkward, too messy, or too, oh my god, did she really just say that? Yes, I did. This is your space where real talk, real stories, real emotions, and the kind of honesty that makes you laugh, cry, and heal a little. Sometimes all at once. So grab your drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. Because life's too short to sugarcoat it, and I'm not here to do that anyway. Welcome to Auntie Life Unfiltered. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Auntie Life Unfiltered, where we keep it real, raw, and human. Today's episode is one of those stories that reminds us that rock bottom isn't the end. Sometimes it's the beginning. My guest Karyn has lived many lives: motherhood, unimaginable loss, addiction, incarceration, recovery, and now leadership, advocacy, and service to others while walking the same paths she once did. This is not a story about perfection, it's about resilience, accountability, community, and choosing to keep going when everything feels stacked against you. I'm incredibly honored to hold space for this conversation. Before we get started, a quick heads up for listeners. This episode includes discussion of child loss, addiction, incarceration, and recovery. Please take care of yourself while listening and pause if you need to. Welcome, Karyn. For anyone just meeting you for the first time, how would you describe yourself?
Well, I have always been a very charismatic, very energetic, kind of sometimes over the top, but I really love to delve into the joy of every moment. So I'm always someone who is always leading the charge. Like I always want to make people think that this is going to be fun, even when it's not. That's a gift that I use every day and everything in my community. And it's because through my life, I've been taught to enjoy everything because
Mhm.
everything is a gift, no matter how hard it is. So I am currently the manager of Eau Claire Sober Living, where I manage 3, soon to be 4 sober homes in my community.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
am on 2 Narcotics Anonymous convention boards where I plan conventions that can reach up to 800 people at a time. So that's a passion of mine as well. I'm usually flying around the community doing something. I recently just got kind of a little bug in me to really kind of start focusing on the homeless population because homelessness and addiction really go hand in hand. So I'm just kind of starting to delve into those resources in my community and really try to lead the charge on that too, because I like to take them even fresh off the street. So
Right. That's very important. That's wonderful what you do. What, like you said, the homeless population and homeless community is growing every day, unfortunately, and there's not a lot of resources. So that's very important that you are helping them. And as you said, a lot of it does go hand in hand. Addiction and homelessness do go hand in hand in a lot of situations. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. When you look back at your early life, what parts feel most important for people to understand about where your story begins?
well, I think, so for a long time as a child, I had no idea that a man in someone's life was average. I was raised by a group of really empowered women. My mother was always a single mother. She had a really strong work ethic because if she didn't, guess what? Her children were homeless. My grandmother was gay before it was cool to be gay. So it was very under the rug. It was kind of secret, but it wasn't. We just didn't
Yeah.
talk about it. But that kind of taught me, being around that community taught me to love people no matter what their choices are. It doesn't matter who you love, it's just love. And I went on later to have a really good, I know a lot of people say they have negative experiences with religion, but I had a really positive one growing up, and it really taught me the roots of my foundation, just the regular rules. Don't steal, don't hurt anyone, treat others how you want to be treated. And of course, that really big piece of unconditional love. It doesn't matter where anyone's from or how they perceive
Mhm.
the world. You have to love them, and it starts with you. So
Yes. That's
that's
very
kind of
important. Yeah.
yeah, that really built the bones of and protected me even in active addiction. There was a lot of lines I didn't cross because of my foundation, and I really owe it to, the church life that I grew up in and, as well as just the family that I had.
Right. Yes. And like you said, you can come from all walks of life. You can go through hard things. You can have, a good childhood, a perfect life. And being a good person doesn't matter where you're at in your walk of life. Learning all the fundamentals, being just a good human is important no matter where you are in life. Uh,
Absolutely.
yes. So becoming pregnant with twins at 17 is life changing on its own. What was the season like emotionally and mentally?
Well, honestly, so my mother was, as I said, a single mother. So I started out as a mother to my younger sister, whether I knew that or not. The laws back then were if you were 12, you could stay home. Well, that
Hmm.
made me a caretaker out of necessity for my mom to save like her finances. So it was something that I feel like I always had the skill to do. But when you're 17, you haven't finished high school, you met your husband at a McDonald's, like you're really not prepared
Yeah.
for a child, much less two of them at the same
Right.
time. So I'm going to tell you, I was really in shock. I really didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm really good at just taking it one day at a time, even before I came to recovery. And
Hmm.
really, I didn't have a choice.
Right.
When you're pregnant. But never in my life did I ever think I wouldn't keep them. So
Right. No.
I
Yeah.
was just trying to do the next right thing. I really followed the model of my mother: get a job, do the work, get the house, just the
Hmm.
regular checklist you have when you go to
Right.
build like an adult life. Like I already knew what that took and I knew the work ethic that it took. So I really, that foundation came into play again and I was really good at it. But when you're really good at it, it left me open to a partner not being really good at it, which
Yes.
meant it was all on me.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure for a
Oh,
17-year-old.
yeah. Yes. Oh, I can imagine. Even as a grown adult, that's a lot of pressure. But at
Oh,
17, with twins, not a lot of help or any help at all. That's a lot. So I give you a
yeah.
lot of strength for that. Um, did your addiction start before you became pregnant, or did everything start happening after you became a mother?
Well, so I was always really good at hanging out with the wrong crowd because I was not a cute kid when I was growing up. I was this chunky little girl with these big bottle cap glasses,
No.
and all the other kids were cooler than me. And I didn't know. I wanted so badly. Like looking back now, all I've ever wanted was connection.
Hmm.
And with my mom at work all the time and kids being mean, like at the end of the day, like, oh, so, like, how do I get it? So I guess I'm sorry, what was the question again? I
Oh
just
no,
have an
you're fine. Just
ADHD mind.
seeing how your addiction started, if it was before
Oh,
you got pregnant or after your pregnancy.
so, what I did was I started hanging out with kind of the in the grit kinda kids, So, their parents were usually drug addicts, and
Hmm.
so what did those kids do? They followed the leader. So, yes, I did dabble in, like THC and
Hmm.
and drinking as, like, a normal
Right. Most
teen
of
would
us do.
eventually do.
Yeah.
But I was always still the caretaker of those individuals too. I
Hmm.
always became the person that made everybody safe, made sure that nobody, everybody got home
Right.
to their house without their parents finding out. It was always a theme for me.
That's who I am as well. So, yes, I understand that completely. Motherhood has been a huge part of your story, including unimaginable loss. How did losing two children to SIDS change you?
Well, they weren't at the same time.
Hmm.
So I had the twins when I turned 18. And, it was really a slow crawl, honestly. Like, I had them and they were so small. Elizabeth was 3 pounds, 15 ounces, and Delicia was 4 pounds, 8 ounces. And Delicia was the bigger twin, so she was really healthy and, or so we thought. And
Hmm.
Elizabeth, she was so small that she couldn't even fit in the preemie car seat. Like, we couldn't
Oh,
even release her because there was no way to transport her.
yeah.
Um, so they ended up separating the twins and discharging me with the bigger one right away. So like the minute that happened, Elizabeth was sick. Like she just like gave up, and it was so hard to manage that. And so for a month and a half, I really thought Elizabeth was going to die. I had so many doctors tell me that, and I think I emotionally distanced myself from my daughter, and it's something I didn't know I was doing. Her first day back from the hospital, though, her sister Delicia died in her sleep to SIDS. And that, you know, it didn't even end there. Elizabeth went right back into the hospital. So it
Right.
was just like this slow,
Oh, goodness.
just crawl of just like medical issues and just never knowing, like, are my children going to die? And
Mhm.
I'm still 18. Like, I still
Yeah.
haven't finished high
Yes.
school. I literally so when a child dies in the home, what people don't tell you is, this isn't NCIS, they
Right.
don't just do an autopsy and it takes 2 days and you're cool. When a child dies in the home, CPS will come in and forcefully take your living child away from you in your moment of grief until an autopsy, which takes about 2 months, can be
Wow.
proven that there is no foul play. So I did that and I fought tooth and nail to turn off my emotions, which was my original switch, and just do what I had to do to check the boxes and get her back. At a year after this happened, I found out I was pregnant again. And I was mortified. I was so scared. I just knew that because we had no real answers, that I couldn't protect a baby. It
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
matter, like, if they were in my uterus or out in the world, like, I didn't I was so scared of that loss again, and so my 2nd pregnancy was filled with absolute terror. I was always in and out of the doctor, and eventually, I ended up actually getting gallstones, and when I went in, because I assumed my baby had kicked out my rib, humanly impossible, by the way.
Right.
I found I had gallstones, and they went to have an amniocentesis to see if the baby's lungs were ready,
Mhm.
uh, to be born, because I guess you can tell that way, and there was no amniotic fluid. So I ended up giving birth to another baby girl, and she lived for 16 days
Mm.
before she passed in her sleep as well. Something that really kind of fueled my I have to have control because each time my children died, they were in the care of my husband. Well,
Mm.
he was my husband at this time. So, there that breeds a lot of ugly questions and a lot of
Mhm.
fear, and I
Mhm.
became super good at flipping that switch of no emotions at all. I just turn it off and I do what I had to do to get my oldest daughter back.
Right. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing all that. That is a lot. And like you
Yeah.
said, you were only 18, 19 years old going through all that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So, oh my goodness. Yeah. I think anybody would kind of turn off or have to turn off part of them to even function. So I completely understand. And oh, I can't imagine going through all that. Wow. Well, okay. So, after your divorce, you found yourself in another toxic relationship. Looking back now, what did you recognize that you couldn't see then?
I think when I really look back at that, and especially now, like if a man comes to me now and tries to treat me as that toxic relationship person did to me, but in the back, like I'm like, absolutely not. You can leave
Right.
now. But it makes me realize like how weak I was and how lost in despair and like how much I just was searching for like any form of connection after
Right.
all of that loss. Like it makes me sad for her, but it also makes me happy for me because I wouldn't put up with that now. I
Yeah.
am strong. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to get my bills paid because guess what? Another individual was not helping me with that. I had to
Right.
do this all on my own while taking care of a man child. If I can do it while taking care of a toxic man child, I can do it now by myself
Yes,
and I can
absolutely.
rock at it. So,
Yes. Yes. I just had another episode the other day, and it was with a peer recovery support guy, and we were talking about that too, like, the things that happened to us, of course, it's horrible that we had to go through them, but we wouldn't be the person we are today. We wouldn't have the strength we have and the knowledge that we have, and a lot of us wouldn't change that because it is who we are, and it helps us cope and understand the world a little bit better, so.
absolutely, I really agree with that. I wouldn't change any moment of my life, no matter how painful it was.
Right, yes, and that's a very powerful thing to be able to say, and I'm sure when you're in your active addiction or going through things, it wasn't as easy to say that, so that does show
Right.
healing as well, so.
Mhm.
Was there a moment when you realized things were spiraling, or did it feel more gradual?
Honestly, because I was so good at flipping that off switch to my emotions, I'm really good at, like, creating a dumpster fire and being like, "Nah, everything's totally fine." Like,
Yeah.
uh, I live in this beautiful world of delusion when I'm in active addiction where I feel like I got this. And I'm not gonna say I was just this wounded child. I was a felon. Like,
Mhm.
in order to feed my addiction, like, I started dealing drugs. Like, it was like a whole different mentality. Like, I wasn't a good person. So, really, I mean, there's so many different layers. I just like I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's
you're
it's
fine.
rough.
Of course, take all the time you need, and we can be open and raw and real here. So that's what I try to just keep it open
Mhm,
for him, let you share your story how you feel comfortable,
mhm.
and let things out as they come. So thank you so much for that. Speaking of that, you did serve multiple prison sentences. What do
Yes.
people misunderstand most about incarcerated women and addiction?
So, I was really scared to go to prison the first time, and I was unprepared. When I got there, you go to, admissions and evaluation. So, you're locked down 23 hours a day in this little cell with one stranger. And it doesn't matter if you get along or what you're in there for or anything. And you get out twice a day to go to the cafeteria. So you get to walk
Right.
outside and you get to go to this big mess hall. You don't get to pick who you sit down with. And I remember this was so crazy for me. I would sit down at the table, and the biggest game we would play was, what are you in for? You know? And I'd be
Yeah.
sitting there and I'd be like, "Okay, well, I got caught with drugs." And
Hmm.
there would be a lady across the table that'd be like, "I murdered my husband.
Yeah.
I beat the living crap out of him." I'd be like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, this is
Um,
real. Yeah.
but it's
Yes.
so crazy because I remember, like, I would really be the only one to ask, like, "What happened? What led
Right.
up to that?" And I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you, I've met so many murderers, I've met so many bank robbers, all these things, and they all have a story, and
Right.
there's so much pain in there. There's
Mhm.
actually a very influential lady that we loved her. She's always in Mac's building because she's really naughty, and she has dementia, so she'll go on unprecedented
Oh,
walks with
yeah.
and she doesn't remember where she's going, but I remember asking her because she had a life sentence,
Oh,
and,
wow,
I
yeah.
asked her what happened, and her husband beat her every single day of her life for 15 years, and people would ask her, "Why don't you leave?" She did leave. She tried to leave a million times.
Mhm.
He took custody of the kids the minute she filed for divorce. He literally hunted her down in different states and took her back home. Like, she was trapped, and especially in an era where, like, people don't
Oh,
really
yeah.
there wasn't as much help. And
Mhm.
finally, one day, she lost it and
Yeah.
shot him. And they gave her the option to get the insanity plea too, and she would have
Right.
gotten 5 years in prison. And all she had to say was that she was crazy because of the beatings. And she stood up in open court and said, "Absolutely not. He deserved it, and I stand by what I did."
Right.
They
Yeah.
gave her a life sentence.
Wow. That's very strong and
Everybody has a
powerful.
story.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Everyone has
everybody
a
has
story. Yes, most of the times
absolutely.
people just don't jump into their addiction or jump into their situation. There's something that happened that led them to that. And yes,
Yeah.
that actually in my community just a couple of months ago, unfortunately, there was a domestic situation similar to that. The
Mhm.
wife was moving out. Her ex came over that she had her first child with. He was helping her get out while her now husband was at work. Supposedly, he showed up in the middle of them moving out and shot and killed everyone but her. So her 2
Wow.
children, her ex-husband, all in front of her, and the baby was, like, 4 months old. Yeah, that's
Wow.
just such a sad situation, and there was, of course, I'd reached out to the authorities and nothing can be done until something happens, and then the
Mhm.
situations like that happen. So, yes, I never try to judge anybody that's been incarcerated or in any kind
Yeah.
of trouble. You never know what led to somebody being where they're at, and a lot of times it's a really sad story and situation,
Yeah.
so
It really revitalized my unconditional care and unconditional positive regard for someone
right,
because I didn't
yes.
have any control. And so the only thing I can do is have positive regard and wait for them to share. 9
Mhm.
times out of 10, like, I can't say if I was in their situation, I would have done any differently.
Right, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. What did rock bottom actually look like and feel like for you?
Ugh, I just shared this at an open meeting not that long ago, but I remember my rock bottom so unbelievably clearly. It literally, sometimes I still have nightmares about it, but I was sitting in a house in Chippewa and the walls are falling down. Like there's holes in the walls, the ceiling's falling. I'm sitting on the bed and I just got in a domestic with my boyfriend and he tried to give me drugs to make me feel better. And I just remember looking at it and going, oh my God, if I keep doing this, nothing is going to change. I'm not
Mhm.
even happy. Like, this is horrible. I'm
Mhm.
literally covered in tears and sweat, and I can't get a job because I know I'm gonna go to jail, like, the minute they'll pick me up at jail, like, there's nothing I can do. I'm trapped. I'm so trapped, and nobody cares. Like, nobody cares if I'm happy today. They just want me here so that way they have access to something that I have,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that is so lonely. My phone used to be blowing up every day, all day. Like, I literally still to this day cannot have the ringer on my phone because it triggers me so bad that I literally would live my life with my phone on silence. But, you could be surrounded by those people and have people constantly blowing you up and never feel so alone. And
Yeah.
that's really all I wanted since childhood is connection. Well, I'm not
Mhm.
finding it here. I
Right.
thought I was because there was all
Yeah.
this surface level attention.
Mhm.
Um, I was hurting myself too. I remember checking into the jail finally, I was 120 pounds. I
Oh,
looked
wow.
sick. I looked so sick. It was terrible. So I just remember that, and I had a very special friend call me at that moment of my rock bottom, and he literally told me he had been there for my whole adventure, like,
Mhm.
understood me like no one else would, and, he was clean, which which is crazy to me. He was a bigger mess than me, so,
Yeah.
uh, but I had given him a speech 2 years prior to that about him getting clean, and he
Mhm.
listened. And all of a sudden, he shows up 2 years later at the exact
Oh,
moment
wow.
of my rock bottom and says, "Karyn, I'm gonna give you the same speech. You're smart. You're better than this. You can do better than this, and you have nothing left to lose. You already know what this looks like.
Right.
What if you took a chance? What if you turned yourself in? What if you cleaned up your mess and started over?" Like, and I'd love to tell you I turned myself in because that would be pretty cool. Um, but I did not. I did get arrested, unfortunately, forcefully. But the moment I walked into that jail cell, I wasn't upset. I remember taking this really big, deep breath of relief, like, oh my God, it's over. I'm safe.
Right.
If you've
Yeah.
ever felt safe in a jail cell, like, you know you're done. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, you know you hit your rock bottom, you're ready to move on, and, I
Yeah.
just had, a sobriety story on, and they were at the point of choosing to take their own life, and that brought up a very good point about sometimes that whether you believe in God or not, that divine intervention just when you need it. She had reached out to somebody that she had knew in the past that she hadn't spoken to in so long. That's the person that she chose when she was gonna take her own life, and he helped her, and they are a couple now, reconnected. Like, it's just crazy how
Oh,
things happen like that at the right time. So, I
yes.
truly believe that stuff like that is a sign, and it is there for a reason, and stuff like that happens all the time. So, that's amazing that that happened for you in that moment when you needed it the most.
Yes.
Was there a moment when hope started to crack through again, even just a little?
So, while I was in the Dunn County Jail in Wisconsin, um, I used to just go to groups to get out of the block. But I remember sitting in one of the groups and I had been so used to like going through treatment and telling my story and all these things that like I really like I was just very good at turning off my emotion and just laying it out there. And I remember sharing this in group, and the program director there looked at me and pulled me aside and said, "Karyn, you're going to be here for a while because you got caught with a lot of stupid things. So, whatever you want to work on, if you are truly done, you just let me know. I will find a class, I will find a video, like we will get this done and you will be able to get your clean slate that you talked about." And so before I ever went to prison, I did like 9 months of treatment in the jail on complete volunteer basis.
Mhm.
And it actually kind of ended up foreshadowing my life because I would find myself sharing so that way the person next to me who wasn't brave enough to share would feel comfortable to share.
Mhm. Yes.
So, I mean, her believing in me, she was the first one. Have you
Yes.
ever had nobody love you anymore and nobody
Right.
believe in you and everyone expect the worst and then you just have a total stranger be like, "You can do this?"
Yes.
That was so impactful for me.
Yes, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you had that, and that's something I'm trying to do with my podcast, trying to let people know that they're not alone. There's all kinds of situations and stories out there, and
Mhm.
whether you feel like you have no one or you truly have no one, there's always someone that understands what you've been through, so that is great. Moving into a sober home was a turning point. What was the different about that environment for you?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't wanna go there.
Right.
It was set up before I left prison and, bless her heart. So the business was smaller when I
Mhm.
actually admitted as a resident there. And the owner, Michelle, she did my phone interview. And I told her on the phone, I was like, listen, I'm not coming back to my hometown where I will never get a clean slate. I was in the newspaper 5 times. I I can't go anywhere. This is a small town. I don't want to
Mhm.
start over there. And I pretty much told her to deny me. I didn't want to live in her stupid house. And if she denied me, I felt like they would let me move to a different county, to a
Right.
different TLP house.
Mhm.
And I just had that really open, honest conversation with her about how I felt like I couldn't recover in that community. And she took me anyway. She accepted my application, even though I told her no. And she set it up with my parole agent. And I ended up at this house. And I remember my first day there, I rode a bus for 5 hours to get there. I was
Oh,
literally
wow.
motion sickness.
Oh,
And
wow.
I walk into the house on a programming night, and there are 16 females standing there so excited to see
Oh.
me and meet me. And I'm very much like, of course, in early recovery, like, don't
Oh,
even look
yeah.
at me.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful, warm, family-like welcome, even though I wasn't quite open to it. I remember that moment forever, like, and I try to model that now for others. Like,
Right.
that's how I wanna greet everyone.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
that's
I mean,
amazing.
it was so crazy, and I really was kinda just checking the boxes when I first got there. I was still hanging out with people who were using that would, buy me cigarettes or give me things that I needed until I got a job, but I remember going in with the peer support the first time, and it was a requirement for me to be in that once a week. And, he's a man, and I
Mhm.
did not trust men at all after years of
Understandable.
addiction.
Yeah.
And, he's so sweet, but, he's excellent at what he does, and, I sat down like the little punk I was, and I looked at him and I go, I hate men. I think they're all after one thing, and I don't have any feelings, so we're not about to have a kumbaya moment. So don't even try." And, but I will answer your questions honestly because I got no shame in my game left, and it's a requirement for me to live here.
Mhm.
And he looked at me and he goes, I'm just going to share my story with you then, because I would never ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do either. And he did that. He shared that moment of vulnerability with me and he cracked me like an egg. I was crying in
No.
45 minutes. And he was the first man that I ever like told my story to and didn't feel like I was going to be judged.
Mhm.
And I've healed so much because of him and his business and because of the business that I now am a part of, like, just having those first moments of trust with these individuals, like, it was so crazy and, like, mind altering, like, to just be loved and accepted the way I always wanted in
Yes.
recovery.
Yes, that's amazing. I'm so glad that there are people like that. Like I said, I had a peer recovery support this past weekend, and it's just amazing to see that side of things. I think a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to be, a doctor or something like that. It's more helpful to have somebody that's lived it and experienced it and know what you're going through, and that is vulnerable and able to share their
Mhm.
story with you to let you know you're not alone and let you know that what you're feeling and going through is completely normal. So that's great that you had that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a very evidence-based woman too. Like I'm always like, prove it, you know? And I had many people in many treatments, read a textbook at me. That didn't
Mhm.
mean anything to me. I don't want to
No.
open up to you. I don't want to connect with you. You don't
Yeah.
even understand what I'm going through. But the minute that business, everyone in that business is in long-term recovery. We hire from within. So,
Mhm.
for people to say in a position of authority to be like, yeah, me too, but let me show you the way out. Holy crap. That did it for me. That's what I needed.
Yes, that's great. That's awesome. So that kind of leads me into my next question. You went from resident to house manager to managing the entire business. What did that progression mean to you personally?
Well, I don't know if you would ever guess this. Most people actually don't, but I have really low self esteem sometimes. I
Yes,
always think I'm that fat little middle schooler. And
I
after
get it.
10 years of evidence that I was really naughty, I didn't think I was ever really capable of anything. So I get really comfortable. I'll get in this niche or whatever, like a resident working at, I was working at a group home.
Mhm.
I got really comfortable in that. I will never push myself further because this is better than what I was doing 10 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So that was another push for me just to even become the house manager. It was another situation where I went into the interview with someone I held so much respect for. I said, I probably can't even do this. I'm going to let you know the problems that I can see happening. Like, and they gave it to me anyway.
Yes.
And, I had so much support from, the business and, like, really it helped me gain so much confidence and surety, and it gave me just, like, a love for women. Like, I didn't trust women after active addiction.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna tell you, every person that has ever gotten me in trouble with the law outside of just regular arrests was a woman for something,
Oh, geez.
and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that to be against women, like, I just had a really negative skew of it.
Yeah.
I had 8 women fresh in recovery at all times who wanted nothing more than to heal and get better and didn't know the way out. I
Mhm.
remember being like that. I remember that. Every time someone moves in, I feel like a little piece of me is inside of them, and I want to help them. I want to give them exactly what I was given when I got to the house because my 4-year rebirthday is coming up, and I can't even believe I've been clean this long. I wanna
Yeah.
give that to somebody else.
That's amazing. Yes. That's so wonderful that you can take all your pain and trials and tribulations and use it to help others and it helps heal you more and it helps them and that's just amazing. I'm so glad that you have that. You're now deeply involved in the Narcotics Anonymous community and convention boards. Why is service such a big part of your recovery?
So, I don't know if you're familiar with NA literature, but I take everything quite literally. And I'm a catastrophizer. So, when I first started getting really on board with the NA community, it says in our literature, we can only keep what we have by giving it away. And I really believe that because at the end of the day, if I have commitments to these meetings or to these convention boards, someone's gonna miss me if I don't show up. Someone's
Mhm.
gonna call me. Someone's gonna wonder where I am. Someone's gonna show I'm s if I miss this meeting tonight, I promise you people know where I live. They will come knock on the door and check on me. Like,
Yeah.
I needed that. That's why service work is important, not only because these meetings don't run themselves and, like, service work doesn't just have to be, running a bunch of conventions. Like, I'm just extra. I do that because I like to go big or go home. But, like, service, like, for me, it, like, just started with, like, being an ear to talk to right before the meeting. I always show up a half an hour early because, again, I'm extra, and I like to catch the newcomer as they come in to be the friendly face. That's service. Like,
Mhm.
it's important, and it makes me feel like I have a purpose, you
That's
know?
awesome.
I
Yes,
need a
that's great.
purpose to live.
Yes. That's one reason I'm doing my podcast. I've always been the person people come to when they wanna talk or go through something, and my own lived experiences has helped me heal being there for others, letting people know they're not alone, and having a purpose. Like, I was
Yeah.
kind of going into a depression again myself before I started this, and the high that this brings me is like nothing else. So, I
Yes.
completely understand that, having that purpose and the drive to help others and wanting people to know they're not alone in whatever they're going through, so that's amazing.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people contact me later in life, like after they fall off. Like, I'll people like to hit me up at their rock bottom, which I find wild because of how I found my way out in my rock
Yeah,
bottom. But I'll always have like a conversation with them, and then I won't hear from them for like months, and they will hit me up, or I'll see them in a meeting, and they'll be like, you helped me get to treatment."
that's
Like,
awesome.
that gets me higher than any drug, I
Oh,
promise
yes,
you.
for sure,
Like,
yeah.
you're with your kids now, you have a job, like, and just all it took was for someone to sit with you, and I did that, like, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
And
Um,
any
you did mention a little bit that you do work with the homeless community. Do you wanna share a little bit more of what you do with that or what you're hoping to do with that?
well, okay, so I actually have a friend that runs a center right now that just takes people off the street and gives them pretty much it's a housing first program. And then you connect them with their resources in hopes that they get clean long enough and get connected long enough to make it to me. So then we can
Mhm,
work on their recovery, and then they can eventually, there's a next step after that where we're connected with, a low barrier housing, resources in the community. So it's kind of like a stepping ladder. And I feel like the more I talk to this individual that is helping the homeless, the more it makes me wanna help the homeless.
mhm,
Like, just seeing I have another friend too that literally goes to the park and hands out, like, blankets and food and, like, will literally go out and pray for them and check on them and, like,
mm,
just share space with them because they used to be homeless. And
yeah,
to see him do that, I have gone out a couple times with other individuals as well, like, during, like, their mass count to see people in that state, like, of course you wanna do something.
oh,
Would you
yes,
like that? If that was you, wouldn't you want someone to offer you a blanket?
yes.
So, really, I'm just, like, poking out and dabbling, like, I'll drop off certain things. I like to purge my house or, like, if I get things that for the sober houses because I take donations
Mhm,
that we can't use or that we have too much of, I'll take them down to somebody I know that works with the homeless. I've donated food, or just even like going out there. And if I want to hang out with one of my friends that work in that community, I'll just walk through the park with them. I see homeless people come through the meetings sometimes. Like that person needs us for sure.
mhm,
They need resources. So
right.
it's not too much formal. I do sit on like committees. Sometimes I feel like they don't do as much as they want to because 'cause they're too busy talking about how to do it.
Mm.
But I think if you really wanna do something about the homeless community, you should just go out there and do it.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't need a committee.
completely. Yes, they just want someone to know that they care and that they can get help or get some resources or like you said, even a blanket or, a piece of food or a
Yeah.
hug or just someone to listen to them. It could be any of us. Any one of us could be homeless in a matter of minutes. So people tend to forget that though, especially the way the world is and going, you never know what is coming next. So
Yes.
going to school to become an SUD counselor is huge. What kind of counselor do you hope to be?
Honestly, I I was inspired by our peer support here that I talked about earlier, as well as the owner. They have met me where I'm at and have become such a safe like I literally call them mom and dad.
That's
So
awesome. That's
because
great.
they were the parental units that I always wanted as a
Mhm.
child. And
Yes.
the way they have nurtured and cared for me, that's who I wanna be for others. Like, Michelle's kind of like a little more of like a hard ass, like, "This is how it's done, go kick ass," and I need
Right?
that. There's days that I need that so much because 'cause
Mhm.
I'm very challenge accepted, but there are moments where I need softness and, Robert is his name. Robert's a little softer and more
Oh.
more gentle, like, "Let's talk about the feelings that come with that," and I'm like, but sometimes I need that. I wanna be
Yes,
this beautiful mix of both of those. I wanna have the clarity to know when to be soft, when to kick ass, I wanna be just this perfect blend of both of them because I admire them so deeply.
that's amazing. I'm so glad that you have them, and they sound like wonderful people, and having a little mixture of both is helpful in so many situations, so that's great.
Yes.
You lost friends to addiction along the way. How do you carry their memory with you now?
Well, um, when I first became the house manager and then I started doing this, I had this perception that I was going to do it for the ones that I had lost. That I was going to tie this cute little superhero cape on and I was going to save everybody and nobody was going to die from addiction. It's a beautiful freaking dream, right? Well, it's
Yeah.
delusional. I'm just going to let you know that right now. I don't have the power to do that. But I do have the power to walk with others. So, there was many friends of mine that died while I was incarcerated. So I just think about all the times that I was unable to show up and that loss of control. And really, my life now isn't about control in that aspect, but I do want to sit with them. I do want to show them a better way to live because I couldn't show my friends a better way to live before they died.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. My husband and I, we live in a very small community as well, and it's kind of a party community. There's not much else to do,
Yes.
so we both have lost a lot of friends to addiction as well. So it's so hard. We had a friend that we knew him in high school, and then he came back in our lives later. He was doing really good for a long time, and then just one time, and I didn't even know he was gone until I saw it in the
Mhm.
paper, and that killed me. So, that's the one reason I do want everyone to be able to come here and speak about
Yeah.
addiction and share their stories, because you never
Yeah.
know. Just you sharing could help somebody realize, like, hey, I'm not alone. There is help. So I'm so glad that you're open and vulnerable on that.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing recently, because that was so far in the past for me, recently we had one of the individuals in our care OD and die. That was a whole new ball game for me. Just the responsibility and the grief. And like I had spent a lot of one-on-one time with this individual, and he reminded me a lot of me when I got out.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
very institutionalized, kind of just a punk, kind of a little naughty, but like still really with all of his heart wanting to do good and change
Mhm.
his life. Um, for that loss to happen, like, especially when I feel so responsible for these people in our care, like, that was a whole new world for me. But I'm gonna tell you, one of my only reservations I had when it comes to recovery was I never thought I could survive the death of another person that I cared for. But
Mhm.
guess what? That person taught me that I can. I don't have to have that reservation anymore. I am clean today
Mhm.
despite that situation.
Yes.
Yes, it did hurt, but I got to learn how to grieve in a community with my support. It was beautiful. Like, and I will always value that individual. We had a beautiful celebration of life, but I know that my life doesn't have to stop because guess what? What about everyone else? What about
Yes.
everyone else in our care? This is a perfect opportunity for us to show them how to grieve loss, how to combat that when you're in recovery.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
taught me to. So,
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. That would definitely be a challenge, and I could see, that kind of bringing up a lot of feelings and things. I'm very proud of you that you made it through, and
mhm.
it's made you stronger, and it's shown you that you can make it through, and having that community and support is awesome. If someone listening feels like they've gone too far, what do you want them to hear from you today?
Well, if after 5 newspaper articles and 3 prison stays, I did not go too far, I think no matter what,
Excuse me.
yes, there are consequences. Like, that was what I was scared of. I thought I had gone too far because I couldn't stop and turn the bus around without going to prison. That's not too far. That's just I'm not ready yet.
Mhm.
And yeah, it did take a little bit of divine intervention for me because I definitely had to be arrested. But it wasn't too far from me. And honestly, I was so afraid of the stigma when I got out of starting clean in the community that I
Mhm.
trashed.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I can't go nowhere still, but it isn't angst. It isn't people treating me like a tweaker or a drug dealer or anything like that. When I'm greeted with love and understanding and excitement and just like, what's going on in the community, Karen? What are you doing now? Like,
That's amazing.
it's just a complete turn. And like what people don't realize, actually what I didn't realize until like 2 days ago, is I've only been out here for 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It doesn't take long. You just have to clean up your side of the street and be willing to face whatever consequences come. They're
Mhm.
not going to kill you, and when they're over, you get to start over.
Yes, that's very powerful. Yes, absolutely. And that's so important. You're never too far gone. You can always find a way out. And as you said, and as you show as an example, it doesn't take long if you put in the work and you want to change and you find the right resources and things to help you on that. So,
Mhm.
well, thank you for sharing so much on that. I like to always, towards the end, do a little fun just to lighten the mood a little bit. We'll do a rapid
Mm.
fire question, just kind of a this or that.
Yes,
Coffee or
do it.
energy drink?
Oh my god. Energy drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celsius.
Oh, nice. Early mornings or late nights?
Late nights. I like a slow wake up.
Yeah. Music in the car or silence?
Oh, music. Yes.
Absolutely, yes. That's something I'm big on this podcast too, is music is therapy for me. A lot of people use music as therapy. Going to concerts and just being involved in that community can help a lot too that people don't even realize, so favorite comfort food?
Oh my god, all food. I was in prison 3 times, like,
The
the food
true.
there is trash.
What was the one thing
I'm
you wanted
so
the most when you
sorry.
got out the first time?
I didn't even care. You know what my
No.
first thing was? It was a frozen chicken sandwich, and I puked it all up because I was
Aw.
so nervous.
Aw.
I don't even care.
Right, just something real.
Mhm, yeah.
What's one thing that instantly calms you after a long day?
Well, and I won't tell Michelle this because but breathing, just even slow breaths and just sitting down in silence in my house, like, I need that decompression time.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I'll never admit to her that it works because she told me to do it, and I always tell her that it's not good enough,
that's
but it
funny.
does work.
We won't tell her. Mountains or beach?
Beach,
Nice, yeah,
even though I burn
definitely.
like a peach. I
Yeah,
don't
me too.
tan.
Something that always makes you laugh no matter what.
Mhm. When people, like, biff it.
Nice, yeah. I always like to watch ridiculousness and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love it. It's guilty
I'm a
pleasure.
klutz by nature my whole life, so I laugh at myself. I'm one of those. So I've definitely
I
had those moments, and there's times where my husband and I will be like, "Dang, sorry that wasn't on camera. That would have been hilarious for
Yeah,
everybody."
I'm a klutz too.
Yeah. Hey, it makes life fun, and if we can laugh at
Yeah.
ourselves, then humor is a big thing in
Mhm.
healing and therapy as well. Like, you need to have fun in life as well, so.
Mhm.
So, what are you most proud of yourself for surviving?
I think just surviving all the loss and learning how to grieve in a healthy way and accept that it's not always gonna feel good. Like,
Mhm.
I'm proud of that because there has been so much death in my life. I
Yes.
needed that.
Yeah. Where can people connect with you or support the work you're doing?
So, we do have a Facebook page. It's called Eau Claire Sober Living. We're based out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Um, or I'm on Facebook, Karyn with a Y, Ward. I'm very kind of public with my stuff. You'll see me flying around the community. Or if you go to any NA conventions, I'm usually got my nose in those and anywhere in Wisconsin. So
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll include links once I post our episode where people can link up with you and find your pages as well. So, before we finish, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or share with us today?
I think that something that we didn't touch on is I was so scared to finally, after 10 years of addiction, reconnect with my daughter.
Oh, yes.
Um, 10 years is a long time to be gone, I tell you what.
Mhm.
And it wasn't always beautiful, and my daughter has her own mental health issues. She went through all the same things I did, and then more while I was
Right.
gone. Um, it's weird to learn to become a parent, but my addiction and all the things I learned, I get to give to my daughter. I get to be a safe and healthy place for her. So, I mean, some people get really nervous about reconnecting with our children and the
Mhm.
ugly questions that may come, but don't be scared. Just be honest. Like, that's what I really needed to do. And my daughter has so much respect for me because of that. I mean,
Mhm.
she's 15, so, like, some days I'm cold, some days I'm not, but,
Right,
like,
the
at
teenage,
the
yeah.
end of the day, I'm her safe place,
Mhm.
and I would have never dreamed that would have happened again, like,
Yes.
not on my best day, and
Yes.
here we are.
Oh,
So
yes. That is very important. Thank you for adding that. Um, my cousin, I recently had her on, and she shared her sobriety story, and that she has I think she's 16 or 17, and that she said that her and her daughter were just talking recently, and she, has made it through everything she's been through, and her daughter said she was jealous of her, and she couldn't
Mhm,
believe that, and she's like, "Why on earth would you be jealous of me? I'm a horrible person." And that's what her daughter said, "You came out of it, mom. You were strong enough
mhm,
to come out of it and look at where we are now." So that is so important to be honest and real and raw with them. Helps them
yes,
be stronger and helps them grow and learn as well. So,
yes.
well, Karen, thank you for trusting me and our listeners with your story. Your honesty, strength, and commitment to helping others find their way out of the darkness is incredibly powerful. To anyone listening who sees pieces of themselves in this story, you are not broken, you are not beyond help, and you are not alone. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And as always, be kind to yourself, drink some water, and remember, healing isn't linear, but it's possible. Love you all. Bye bye. All right, friends, that's a wrap on today's episode of Auntie Melmel Life Unfiltered. Thank you for spending this time with me and stepping into the real, the raw, the messy, and the magical, because we don't do surface level here. If this episode hit home, made you laugh, or helped you feel a little less alone, go ahead and follow the podcast and share it with someone who might need it too. And remember, you are never too much, never too little, and never alone on this wild ride. I'll meet you back here next time for more truth, more feels, and more unfiltered goodness. This is Auntie Mel Mel signing off. Stay real, stay kind, and stay unfiltered. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This is Auntie Mel Mel. If this episode made you laugh, think, or feel a little less alone, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Sharing it really helps this community grow. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and right here on YouTube. I'll see you in the next episode of Life Unfiltered.